Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is my excuse me preview video of out the USW OutCast 2015 special, which will be held on July 8th, 2015, in the Matthew J. Casey Memorial Coliseum in Hartford, Connecticut. Wednesday, July 8th, 2015. Um, the event will feature, at this moment, 9 matches. However, um, one may not be competed in, and that is the Cannon versus Yo-Yo Joe match because of Yo-Yo Joe viciously breaking his nose. So, one thing before we start, follow the Twitter handle right there, Twitter at Zachary Sarah. And if you have any questions for my fourth, at this point in time, the Hardiac Wrestling Podcast, episode number 4, which will go up on Tuesday, July 7th, 2015 at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have any questions, send them to unitards@gmail.com. It is unitards, that username, only with one more Z at the end, at gmail.com. So anyway, let's get into the OutCast 2015 special instead of wasting about 20 to 30 minutes talking about the history of Wednesday Night Intensity or any plugs. So, first off, we have the no disqualification match for the Extreme Championship. TJ defends the Extreme Championship against Crimson Red. I do not believe there was anything about Crimson Red and TJ on July 1st. So even though that's the case, I don't think it really needed anything. This is more of like one of those matches where it starts out the show, but they don't want it to be too focused on because they want the more important matches to be focused on, which is why I think it's a great thing that they didn't build up any hype on intensity. And I forgot to mention that. I apologize. But I think it's a great idea for TJ versus Crimson Red to be held down or to be pushed down or not to be as hyped up as every other match that is needed to be hyped up. So I think they did a good job with that. It's a no disqualifications match for the Extreme Championship. I don't like the fact that it's just a no disqualifications match. We already have a no disqualifications match on the OutCast card with Zach Hardy, myself versus Majigeta, but TJ versus Crimson Red for the Extreme Championship. It should be a good match. TJ is capable of putting on good matches, except you don't usually see a good, or you don't always see a good match from TJ. It's usually just high flying maneuvers with technical background in it. And Crimson Red is one of those technical, somewhat high flying powerhouses that you see. And in this case scenario, I'm going to do something where I say who I want to win and who I think should win, or no, who I think should win and who I think will win. In this case scenario, I think TJ will win the Extreme Championship. He will retain the Extreme Championship. However, I want Crimson Red to win because TJ is doing nothing with the Extreme Championship belt. It's getting him nowhere. It's getting him no feuds. It's getting him no storylines. It's making the Extreme Championship just go down in worth. And in all, it's just not doing anything for him. So I think Crimson Red would take that title, and then TJ would have another match, in which case he would evoke his rematch, and in this case he would lose and do something else or go off TV for a while. I call it TV, or go off intensity for a while, and Crimson Red would carry the Extreme Championship belt again. And I think that's what should go on. But I think they're going to let TJ keep it to give TJ one more try to see if he can do anything with the Extreme Championship. If he can't, then he'll give it to somebody else, possibly Crimson Red at, I believe, Ultimate Consequence. But whatever. That's my prediction. Next match is the match that may not happen. It's booked to be the second match on the card, and it's Cannon versus Yo-Yo Joe. Of course, if you watched Intensity last night, or if you saw my review and you got it to the Yo-Yo Joe versus Cannon storyline, you would know that it was questionable. and that Cannon versus Yo-Yo Joe may not happen. The reason being is because Yo-Yo Joe broke his nose viciously um, on intensity. I even got a call during my intensity review. You would see me turn off the you would see me turn off or turn on my microphone onto mute because I had a call from Yo-Yo Joe, and he said it doesn't look good because apparently he was watching my intensity review. So if you're watching as well, thank you very much, Joe, for watching. But anyway, it may not happen, folks, so don't get too hyped up for it. If it does happen, I have a feeling they're going to give Yo-Yo Joe the win, pretty much because he hasn't been doing much other than the Blue Belt Championship picture. In that case, he was a heel, and he lost to Prophecy twice. So I think this is the way to give Yo-Yo Joe heel momentum and give Cannon more of a storyline to the point where he's getting upset because he continues to lose and continues to not win these crucial matches. In this case, I think that would build up to a good storyline with Cannon and Yo-Yo Joe, and then Cannon would go his separate ways, and Yo-Yo Joe would go his separate ways. But I think this would be a great opportunity to give Yo-Yo Joe a win because it would give Yo-Yo Joe heel momentum. You know, he's a new heel. He's been a heel since his feud with Prophecy maybe a month ago. And so therefore, since he lost to Prophecy twice, he needs to balance that out with a big win against Cannon, therefore giving him momentum as a heel and making his character one to be known and one to be respected. And Cannon, I think it would give him a well-deserved storyline and a well-needed chance to improve. And in this case, the improvement will be with him getting a good storyline. I haven't been taking advantage of these situations, and it's getting me down. It's getting me annoyed, and I want to win, but I can't, and I can't do it. And I will win, but I want to, and it kind of eats him away at him inside, and so he challenges whoever it may be to a match to try to continue to try to win and try to get back to where he was, And I think that's the storyline you should go with. And if I were booking it, you know what? Not if I were booking it, but we'll leave that for another time. If I were booking it, that's what I would do with Yo-Yo Joe and Cannon. And in this case scenario, I think the winner will be Yo-Yo Joe if the match happens. And if it doesn't and Yo-Yo Joe is injured, it's dependent on whether or not he's injured for a week, whether or not he's injured for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, what? 8 months, what? 9 months, what? 10 months, what? 11 months, what? 12 months, or a year, what? And a Bloody Mary. No, but it's dependent on how long he's going to be out, and if he's out for a while, then that's kind of going to derail even more of his momentum that he has left. So hopefully, we do not see a loss for Yo-Yo Joe if the match does happen, but from the way it looks and from what Yo-Yo Joe has told me, it doesn't look like this match is going to happen. So I'm reading off the website. You go to uswofficial.weebly.com, official with 2 F's, and you'll go to the OutCast 2015 special tab at the top, and you'll go under the match card. I'm reading off that match card, and I think by Saturday or Sunday, maybe Monday, if the match is not going to happen by intensity, then before Wednesday or on Wednesday or whatever, then that match is going to be taken off the card because why would it be left there? Anyway, next match is for the International Championship. Ash defends the International Championship against James. This should be a very good match. I like the fact that the crowd is just getting into this feud. They've had 2 or 3 matches before. The crowd wasn't as into it as they are now, and now they're cheering James and booing Ash. So it's kind of like a lesser version of of the Prophecy and Yo-Yo Joe match or Blue Belt Championship feud from about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. So I like what they're doing with Ash and James, and I hope that this feud goes on for a little bit longer while the crowd is interested in it, and so that way the crowd has time to digest it, and then it goes down, and whoever does not go forward with the International Championship goes and does better things in the mid-card and everything like that. In this case scenario, I don't see why Ash would lose the International Championship. Then again, Two cats. Anyway, um, in this case scenario, even though I didn't see why they would need to take the title away from James when they did at Hardcore Haven. Again, sorry for the microphone. Even though they didn't see, I didn't see a reason why they should take it off of James at Hardcore Haven. I don't see a reason why they're going to take it away from Ash at the OutCast 2015 special. So I'm just going to go ahead and say Ash is going to win. I don't think they're going to have James win the title back, because then it's just going to be like a storyline of it going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. However, if James is getting over, maybe they should have James as the international champion. But in this case scenario, I don't see why they would take it off of Ash unless they were trying to go with the crowd and what the crowd wanted. But in that case, I think the better way to book it would be have Ash retain the international championship at the Outcast 2015 special. And then when Ultimate Consequence 2015 rolls around, these two fight again, and James wins the championship. And it's all going to depend on the crowd's reaction. If they're going to continue to boo Ash and get behind James, or if they're going to do that even more than they already are, then in that case, that's when I think they should push James as the international champion. However, I don't think they should take the chance right now and in turn either confuse the audience or make sure that the audience is still interested in this feud, because if they're not, then there's no real reason to put the title back on James. So I think it'd be easier to, or it'd be better to keep the championship on Ash, and then if the crowd is still interested in the feud and is interested in James going into Ultimate Consequence, that's when you give James the title. And then you book forward, having maybe Ash lose to James. Ash goes and does something else, and James becomes the international champion and moves forward with the international championship. But in this case, I would think that Ash is going to win. I think that's what they're going to do, and that's how I would book it. Next match is for the 2015 Key and Case Briefcase. It's entitled 2015 Key and Case Briefcase Holder Match. Simon Saint, current holder, versus Dustin Raymond. This match is pretty easy for me to predict. You wouldn't have Dustin Raymond lose the Key and Case if you had, or on the June 24th, 2015 edition of Intensity, if he was just going to win it back. There are a few things that I want to say about this, and I think it'd be interesting. First off, I think Simon Saint is going to win this match. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He wouldn't win it from Dustin Raymond just to lose it back to Dustin Raymond. And I think they're doing this because they know Dustin Raymond's going to be leaving soon, and they didn't have very much of a choice in who to put it on when the Key and Case match occurred, although Simon Saint was also in the match, so now they're giving the thing to Simon Saint. I don't think they wanted Dustin Raymond to hold the briefcase for a while, or cash it in or bank it in. I think that's why they gave it to Simon Saint, and I don't think they're going to book Dustin Raymond to win it back because it'd be pointless. He wouldn't be able to win. He'd win a championship and leave with it, so that'd just be stupid, especially considering he's leaving in September, where I don't know what day. I think it's within the first 10 days. So at this point, he's got about 2 months. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just about 2 months, either a little bit more or a little bit less than 2 months until Dustin Raymond leaves. So I don't see a point in giving Dustin Raymond the briefcase unless he's going to cash it in the night and then be a transitional champion and lose it back to the champion. I don't see that happening. I think Simon Saint is going to win. Now, the thought I had for the Key and Case is, what if the winner of the Key and Case had, and as long as he held on to it, he would have to defend the briefcase at every pay-per-view until he cashed it in. Now, yes, people may argue, well, then that would just mean, oh, well, I better cash it in tonight so I don't have to go through that, or I better cash it in before the next pay-per-view. I think, yeah, that would be a heel's tactic, but then again, you would think, oh, well, I got to make sure that this guy is injured or this guy is not good enough to compete. And if he is by the end of the main event, then, or by the end of this match, then I don't think I should cash in this briefcase. I think it'd be interesting if, as long as somebody held the briefcase and as long as the briefcase was not like being defended or was not banked in on a for a championship, as long as somebody holds the briefcase and has not cashed it in yet or banked it in yet, I think it should be defended every single pay-per-view, just to give it a new spin, because the Money in the Bank in the WWE is not contested for every single pay-per-view. So I think it'd be interesting if, just like kind of like the X Division Championship is in TNA, and it's like option C. I think it'd be interesting if the Key and Case kind of took place as the X Division Championship, and since the Key and Case gives you a shot at the championship belt, it'd be interesting if there was always a new challenger to the to take the briefcase away and get a championship shot. However, the Key and Case match would still happen, and the winner of that match would be able to have first say in in whatever match they want to have. Or let's say, with the Key and Case match, since it's not going to be defended any more times at that pay-per-view, like let's say it's defended at Call of Greatness 11, and let's say Dustin Raymond wins the Key and Case briefcase at Call of Greatness 11, he can say, oh, well, I won it, and I haven't defended it yet, because you can't defend it twice. I'm going to go defend it, or I'm going to go bank it in for the USW Championship in the main event, and he does so. There's going to be a perk to winning the Key and Case in the Key and Case match instead of just handing it to somebody. I think that'd be an interesting spin on the Key and Case. But now for this match, I think the smart decision would be for Simon Saint to win and retain the Key and Case briefcase, and I think that's what they're going to do with it. So that's interesting, and I think that's the way to book it. Anyway, leading into the USW Tag Team Championship match, the title here says, USW Tag Team Championships, winners face Gringo and Fernandez at Ultimate Consequence 2015. Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin defend the championships against Indigo Reaction, Indigo Child, and Chain Reaction. This is going to be a great match. They had great matches beforehand at Call of Greatness 10, at Final Chapter 2015, where they had great promos or great matches or anything that they were involved in before Call of Greatness 10, or even at Call of Greatness 10. Call of Greatness 10 and before that, everything they did was amazing. It was great. Every match they had was great. Every promo they had was great. Every segment was great. Every single thing that they had done was great. And I like the fact that they're going to do at least one more spin-off match here. And in this case, hear me out. Remember when we had the Hardcore Haven 2015 review that I did? And I said, I have a feeling they're going to have Indigo Reaction beat Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin for the Tag Team Championships at the OutCast 2015 special. Yeah, I've changed my mind. And those are one of the few times that happens, because there are very few times where I don't expect something at all, or something like I would never expect to happens, and in this case changes the whole course of a match or a prediction. I think that's what happened here. I didn't expect Gringo and Fernandez, and it wasn't obvious until the following intensity. So my review was before that intensity, before Gringo and Fernandez were put in. So at that point I thought, oh, it's just gonna be Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin versus Indigo Reaction for the Tag Team Championships. Oh, I think Indigo Reaction is gonna win. I think at this point, if the winners are gonna face Gringo and Fernandez at Ultimate Consequence 2015, then it has to be Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin. Otherwise, Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin would lose to Indigo Reaction and would invoke their rematch. And in this case, it would either happen on Intensity, which wouldn't be the best, or it would happen at Ultimate Consequence. Now, it can't happen on Intensity because you only have 2 weeks to build. So then you would only have 1 week left to build to Gringo Fernandez versus whoever. And in that case, if it happens at Ultimate Consequence, then we're going to get Gringo Fernandez versus Ezra Kills, Benny Franklin versus Indigo Reaction in a 3-ways tag team match for the tag team titles. And then there would be no defender. There would be no challenger, because Gringo and Fernandez didn't win their shot, and Indigo Reaction didn't win their shot, or Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin didn't win their shot. In this case, Gringo and Fernandez would be able to say, "Oh yeah, it wasn't a one-on-one, 2-on-2 match." Well, that's going to be overlooked, So I think this is going to lead to Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin retaining the USW Tag Team Championships against Indigo Reaction, and then we'll see where Indigo Reaction goes from there. But if I were booking it, I would say Ezrin Kills and Benny Franklin would win, and they would face Gringo and Fernandez, and we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna talk too early this time because something may change and something may differ by the next time Gringo and Fernandez happens. And yeah. So anyway, leading on to the Blue Belt Championship match. Prophecy defends the championship against Anarchy. This should be a very good match as well. I am looking forward to it. Um, Prophecy has been getting over with the audience, and it seemed like Anarchy was getting over with the audience as well last Wednesday on Intensity. And it seems as though we're going to get a face versus face match. I wouldn't be surprised if either Prophecy or Anarchy turned heel. Sorry, I had to bite something off. Hangnails bother the shit out of me. Anyway, in this case scenario, let's all be honest. If anybody's turning heel, it's Anarchy because Prophecy is way more over with the crowd. It'd be stupid to have Prophecy become a heel like this soon. He's just getting over. So anyway, I think the crowd is very into this match. Face versus face. Who to side with, Prophecy or Anarchy. I think the latter would go to Prophecy. Or I think the majority of the fans would go with Prophecy. But it's still interesting to see what goes on. And just this is one of those moments where you can't really. I mean, it's going to be a prediction based on like the audience votes, I guess. I mean, in this case, I don't see why we would take it off of Prophecy. I mean, other than giving Anarchy the title and then having Anarchy defend it. I mean, it's going to be a real challenge for me to find out who's going to move forward with the Blue Belt Championship. And in this case, I think it'll be Anarchy. Excuse me. My prediction is for Anarchy to win. But how I would book it would be Anarchy wins the Blue Belt Championship, and then Anarchy turns heel. But he doesn't turn heel at the OutCast 2015 special. He goes on for a few weeks, beating Prophecy, starting to use heel tactics, as then Prophecy starts getting annoyed, and the fans start booing Anarchy because he's doing heel tactics and costing Prophecy the match. Therefore, Anarchy turns heel. Prophecy is still face, so then it goes from face versus face at OutCast to face versus heel at Ultimate Consequence. In that case, Anarchy. In that case, I don't know when. I have to see how Intensity goes after this OutCast 2015 special to see who I would book to win between Prophecy and Anarchy at Ultimate Consequence. Because let's be honest, we're getting Prophecy versus Anarchy at number 2 at at Ultimate Consequence 2015. And if we don't, I'm going to be upset because this is a feud that I think I want to keep going on. But in this case, I would have Anarchy win. I would book Anarchy to win and turn Anarchy heel over the next few weeks. And then as the crowd starts booing him going into Ultimate Consequence, Prophecy becomes the face, Anarchy becomes the heel, and we move from just a basic face versus face match to a face versus heel match. So I think a face versus face match should be a one and done here, and then one of them turns heel. Anarchy, please. Please, Anarchy. Just please turn Anarchy heel after this match, and then we go into the second match where it's face versus heel. So my prediction is for Anarchy to win, and that's how I would book it. Next match is for the World Heavyweight Championship, not the USW World Heavyweight Championship, but the World Heavyweight Championship. I know a lot of people did not like the name USW World Heavyweight Championship. Western Light defends the World Heavyweight Championship against Seth. I like the feud. I think it will go on into Ultimate Consequence. And the reason why, well, I have an idea. Well, I have a prediction. I want Western Light to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. Or no, I want Seth to retain the World Heavyweight Champion. Or I'm sorry, I want Seth to win the World Heavyweight Championship here at OutCast, the OutCast 2015 special. Western Light, or Seth becomes starts becoming the demonic character. He is the demonic character. He becomes fully demonic, and He gets help from his demons and everything. He beats Western Light. Over the next few weeks, Seth continues to be booed. Western Light continues to get to go for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, wins the number one contenders match, or no, becomes the number one contender on Intensity. Western Light versus Seth is booked to be uh, Western Light and Seth are booked for Ultimate Consequence, and then Western Light wins the championship back. And then we see Western Light versus somebody else, and Seth goes on and starts talking about his demons, goes off for a while, and just does promos on Intensity. No matches, no storyline for a while, and then he appears in a match at a pay-per-view and costs whoever the match, and that's when he starts a feud with that person. That's how I want it to go. However, if I had to predict what they were going to do, I'm going to go ahead and say they're going to give the championship, or they're going to have Western Light retain the championship because he's going to do something else. He's going to do something else on in another feud going into Ultimate Consequence and then Capital Carnage and whatever specials they may end up having. But I think they're going to have Western Light win. Seth will go off and do some kind of demonic shit somewhere else, and then Western Light will feud with somebody else. That's what I think that they're gonna do. But if I had to book it, I would give Seth the championship back, and then I would have Western Light lose the championship at or Western Light win back the championship at Ultimate Consequence, and Western Light does something else. Seth goes off for a while, just does promos for a few weeks, and then interferes in a match and feuds with that person, and the other person that's feuding against the other person that Seth wants to face will do something else, or go in a world championship match, or the world championship picture. That's how I would book it. Next match is the no disqualifications match. Zach Hardy versus Machigeta. I would book it in a specific way. Now, I want to remind everybody, because I don't know how much I have to remind, or how many times I have to remember somebody or remind somebody. I don't know what's going on with my character until I show up for that show that week. Every performer, let's say on Intensity, every performer is told what they're going to do only for that intensity, what's going to happen to them on that intensity only when they walk into the building Wednesday night or Wednesday evening. And then the performer has no idea what's going to happen next week or the next pay-per-view until they show up for that event. So I don't know what's going to happen at Ultimate Consequence. I'm telling you right now. But if I had to book it, I would say this. Machigeta beats Zach Hardy at the OutCast 2015 special. Zach Hardy versus Machigeta happens again at Ultimate Consequence 2015 in some other match, something that you can interfere in. And I'll get to that in a second. But some kind of match you interfere in. A tables match, wood and metals match, fucking ladders match, a bloody massacre match, a knockout match, anything that you can interfere in without getting disqualified. And then Machigeta wins that match at Ultimate Consequence. That's where the feud stops for a while because somebody interferes in Zach Hardy's match at Ultimate Consequence. The reason why I say that is because with my promo, I was told to say, whoever does not like me or does not respect me, show yourselves by Ultimate Consequence 2015, which means I think we're going to have one more match at the OutCast 2015 special, and at Ultimate Consequence 2015. I don't know who yet, and I don't really know who I would book to feud with me at Ultimate Consequence, but at Ultimate Consequence, somebody cost me the match, and Machigeta wins the match. Therefore, Zach Hardy wins the first match at Hardcore Haven. Machigeta wins the second match at OutCast 2015 special, and Machigeta wins the third match at Ultimate Consequence, and Zach Hardy does something else with another performer. They go their separate ways for a while until Zach Hardy versus Machigeta happens again, and in that case, we go back into this feud, and then something else happens. But if I were to predict this whole pay-per-view to go, or this special event to go, I would say Machigeta is going to win this match. I don't know how, but I think in order for that to happen, Majigeta, since he is a heel, he needs to have more confidence, or he has to boost his confidence in order to not feud with somebody else again. I think Majigeta would win this match. The series would be tied 1-1, and then Majigeta would want a second match so that way he can go ahead in the series 2-1. And therefore, when he won at Ultimate Consequence, he'd be like, "All right, I won 2-1 in the series. I don't need to face you anymore." This case, if it was just 2-1 in favor of me because I win at Ultimate Consequence, or I'm sorry, I win at OutCast 2015, then Majigeta he wouldn't be the same heel as he would be if he beat me at Outcast and at Ultimate Consequence. So I'm going to say USW knows that, so they're going to have Masahiro win. However, I don't think they're going to book the same way I think they will. I want them to book me to lose to Majigeta at Ultimate Consequence because somebody interferes. I don't think they're going to go that route. We'll stay tuned and let's see if they surprise me and everybody else too. So my prediction is for Majigeta to win that match. That's how I would book it. Main event match time for the USW Championship. Alexander Rodden defends the championship against Lone Wolf. These are one of the feuds that I think, or this is one of the feuds that I think is going to be a 2 and done, not a 1 and done, but a 2 and done. I think Alexander Rodden will win the USW champion, or will retain the USW championship against Lone Wolf at Outcast, and then he will beat Lone Wolf again at Ultimate Consequence and retain the USW championship there. If I had to book it, I would say Alexander Rodden beats Lone Wolf. He uses some kind of tactic, or Lone Wolf gets disqualified. Lone Wolf wants another chance at Alexander Rodden, so Kyle Reese gives him another chance. He fails at that, but or he gives him a chance to face Alexander Rodden, but he has to do something first. He fails at that. He keeps trying and going over and over and over again. Finally, he forces Alexander Rodden to say, "Yes, fine. I give you your match at Ultimate Consequence." They have another match, and Alexander Rodden wins that match and does something else, as Lone Wolf goes somewhere else as well. The reason why I don't want him to the reason why I don't want Lone Wolf to retain or win the USW championship is because I think they have such a better chance of making a star out of Alexander Rodden if Alexander Rodden kept the USW championship for a longer period than just 30 days. Or I think they should have him held it for at least 100 days, and then he'd be taken seriously as a main event performer. He'd be taken seriously as a star. He'd be taken as a threat by with the roster would think he's a threat because he's USW champion. He was that for a long time. He was dominant as a champion, and then he loses it maybe after 100 days, maybe after a year. I don't know, but I think they should have Alexander Rodden retain the USW championship here, and I think that's what they're going to do. So my prediction is for Alexander Rodden to retain the USW championship. So once again, my predictions. I haven't done this in a while, but my predictions are for excuse me, predictions for who I want to win and who I think will win for this. No disqualification match for the Extreme Championship. I think Crimson Red will win, or I want Crimson Red to win, or I would have Crimson Red win, but I think TJ will win. Cannon versus Yo-Yo Joe. If it happens, I want Yo-Yo Joe to win, and I think Yo-Yo Joe will win. International Championship, Ash versus James. I think Ash will win, and I want Ash to win. 2015 Key and Case briefcase holder match. I want Simon Saint to win, and I think Simon Saint will win. USW Tag Team Championships, where the winners face Gringo and Fernandez at Ultimate Consequence 2015. I think Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin should win, and I want Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin to win. Blue Belt Championship match, Prophecy versus Anarchy. I want Anarchy to win, and I think Anarchy will win. World Heavyweight Championship match, Western Light versus Seth. I want Seth to win, but I think Western Light will win. No disqualifications match, Zach Hardy versus Majigeta. I think Majigeta will win, but I want Majigeta to win. And main event for the USW Championship, I think Alexander Rodden will win, and I want Alexander Rodden to win. So there you have it. Pretty simple. So thank you for watching. This was my USW Outcast 2015 special preview video. One reason for why I can't do a pre-show that night is because I will be pretty much just returning from the recording of Intensity or of Outcast. It's not as early as it's not earlier than the pay-per-view event. It's pretty much the recording time is closer to the event than earlier than the event, so it's going to be a while for me to get home, and I probably I don't know. I mean, the recording is going to start at uh, I believe 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will end at 6 p.m. But I have to stay there for the entire thing, and then I'll end up getting home at about 7:15. And at that point, I'll have to write out a script, and I would have to write out a script, everything, and it would only be able to take me 15 minutes, and then I'd have to rush everything, and I wouldn't be able to get everything done, and then it would be a half-hour pre-show, and that wouldn't be fair to anybody. So, and I might not even get home by the time the pre-show would start, so I wouldn't be able to do it. So, therefore, that's the reason why. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Follow me on Twitter at Zachary Sarah. Send your wrestling related questions to unitards@gmail.com. It's unitards, this channel or this name with one more Z at the end, at gmail.com, and I will answer them in the fourth episode, or at least at this point, the fourth episode of the Hardiac Wrestling Podcast on Tuesday, July 7th, 2015, at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.